Oh my goodness. Alright y'all, so today we're gonna focus on getting Linux to run. It's gonna show you how to get Linux up and running on your PS5 thanks to the flow and his genius work in getting this payload to work. So your console has to be on minimum firmware version 3 to 6.02. And the one thing that I think is important to note here is that it's unlocking its full hardware potential for desktop use. What's notable is he not only got the hypervisor patched and kernel exploited, but he's also gotten 8 CPU cores, 3.5 gigahertz, and a GPU at 2.23 gigahertz. So this is quite amazing. A lot of times you'll get it, but then the drivers will be not optimized, and so you may get access to the CPU and the GPU, but then the system is sluggish. It's almost unusable because you don't have drivers to understand the hardware. So he goes on to say it provides enough performance to run Steam games and various emulators with impressive fluidity. So HDMI 4K 60 video and audio output, M.2, so you can leverage the SSD if you want to install an M.2 drive, or obviously in this case I'm going to be using it externally. And yes, if you do this, you're going to need a USB keyboard and mouse initially. And for simplicity, I always say just keep it simple, so I just use Ethernet for now. No need for wireless LAN at this point. Maybe you should have mentioned it, but you want to connect your PS5 controller directly, so connecting it directly via USB. Just as the initial setup, I prefer to use it going forward. And these are just some configuration things to do on the PS5 prior to setting or getting Linux running. So basically it's saying you want to enable rest mode features. You want to disable HDMI link. These are optional obviously, but these are always, when you're dealing with JBing, you want to always disable these ones. But these ones are definitely specific to Linux, so let's just quickly do that. Or I'm pretty sure it's already set, but we'll just do that. We'll just set these right now if they're not already set. Okay, so looks like everything is already set for me, and then we've already turned off enable device link, so we're good to go there. Alright, let's get started. We got to download the PS5 Linux image, so I've already done that. If you want, you can build your own. I say use one of the images that's already built, and then we want to download Valencia Etcher. So again, I've already downloaded that, but if you haven't, download it. And then you want to get your drive and then plug it into the PC. So let's go to the Linux images first. And so these are the options. Again, you can create your own, but these are the images that are out of the box that will work. I think the most common one, the most user-friendly, is probably Ubuntu. So all you do is just download it. So I guess I'll just download a fresh copy, but I already have a copy, so I might just delete this because it's taking up space. But yeah, see, as you can see, I downloaded already. So you want to do that. And then once you do that, you want to download Valencia Etcher. Again, I have this as well. So if I download that, so I'm just going to plug in my drive here that I'm going to install my image on. And then I'm going to open up Valencia Etcher and flash from drive. I got to find my image. So I did already download it. So one thing to remember, this is compressed. So you're going to want to uncompress it first. And then you should end up with something like this. So then you're going to select that, choose your target. This is my drive. It's a large drive, so all you need is 64 gigs minimum to get Linux installed and loaded on your PC, but yeah, it's just warning me that I'm using a very large drive. So we'll just do that. And so it's important that you do use an M.2 or an SSD, because if you use like a flash drive or something like that, it'll be really slow. Probably get around 6 megabits per second. It'll take a while. So it's always ideal to get like a drive that has really good speeds. So at least this process will be faster. But then also when you install it and it starts up on your PlayStation, it starts up in a reasonable amount of time too. All right. So Flash is done. So we have our image. So now we can unplug. So we've got our image, we flashed, and now we're going to plug it into the USB. And then even the notes here, the front top port A port is 2.0, which is slower and thus not recommended. So just focus on the rear type port A's. Those are the faster, I think 3.0. All right, so I'm going to do that, plug it out. So now what we want to do is we want to get the latest payload. I'll just download it. So this is the latest one. I'm pretty sure I have this already, but I'll just download this. Get the offloader. And then I'm going to jailbreak my console real quickly. And I just want to confirm that I am on 4.03. All right, so 4.03. And then let's jailbreak. All right, perfect. So we're jailbroken. I'm going to abort my auto load. And as you can see, I do have PS5 Linux loader, but just on the safe side, I'll just re-upload it. So I'm going to do this by accessing this via browser. But before that, I got to get my IP. So let's see if I can get my IP address. So 99. All right, so now I'm in my I'm loaded up in the browser. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to upload this latest version, and it should overwrite the existing one. All right, so now what I can do is I will just load the payload here. All right, so now what it's doing is it's seen the image, and so now what it's going to do is it's going to put the console into rest mode. All right, so this is basically, you're logged in. This is it. The console, once it comes out of orange or comes out of rest mode, you press the PS button and then you get it out of rest mode. It'll boot up into Linux. And so this is what you'll see. This is what you'll be presented with. It's a little cryptic. I'm not quite sure what it's asking for. I just literally clicked into the search box and I guess it's looking for keyboard type. All right, and then click next. And then you're going to enter in your name and then password. So try not to forget this. You'll initially need this, and then we'll set it up so it'll automatically log in going forward. Okay, and I just kind of leave this default. And then I'm in Toronto, and that's pretty much done. And so it looks like it's downloading some additional language packs. I'll just cancel that. All right, so we're booted up here. And yeah, so Linux on PS5, pretty cool. So again, shout out to the Flow, obviously did all the major work. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So a couple of things we want to do first is we follow along with his first boot setup here. Let's see, so disable screensaver, possibly disable, re-enable Wi-Fi connection to get internet connection. So we do have internet, I believe. I do have a dongle. So I just have a USB to Ethernet dongle. So that seems to work. I'm pretty sure after you update, you can use the default port at the back, wired Ethernet port at the back, but whatever, I'm using a dongle regardless right now. So we're good there. Let's see, what packages to prevent updating. So I guess let's first, so I'm just thinking let's try to install Firefox first. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm going to see if I can get Rusk desktop installed. So at least I can copy and paste the commands easier. Or technically I could just go to this website. I could just do that. Go to the website once I have Firefox installed. I can just go to the website and copy it from there. So copy and paste from there. So I'll most likely do that instead. Let me know in the comments what you guys plan on doing if you guys are following along and you're installing Linux as well. Just curious what you guys are doing. I think a lot of people are going to install Steam and play games via Steam. I actually think I might just do that. I'm actually thinking I might because in my previous video, if you remember, I did install or I did jailbreak my PlayStation Pro digital. And because it's a higher firmware, like more games work on that console than on this one. And so it's funny, even though I love my fat PS5 on 4X, because I can install this stuff, I actually don't use it to play games anymore because I have my Pro. It's more powerful, and I have to admit, the new updated Y2JB, it's so stable. Several times, I haven't turned off my PlayStation in days, and every time I bring it out of rest mode, everything works. So thinking, yeah, I think I might just turn this into a Steam Deck. But first off, let's just set it up and we'll continue. We'll figure it out from there. So we're in or fully installed. Okay, so what we can do now is let's go to this PS5 Linux. Okay, so we did all that. We ran the jailbreak, sent the payload, first boot, install Firefox. I guess we'll do this one first. Hmm. What sudo should make put me in root? No. Let's try to update this as Okay, so we're just updating the Mesa. I believe what these are basically just the drivers that optimize the hardware for the PS5. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, I guess I'll create both, just an application menu so I don't have to keep going to the terminal to open it up. Disable this at startup. Okay, so now as you can see, there is, I guess the desktop one doesn't work, so I'll just delete that, but we have one here. So now it opens up cleanly. So now what we need to do is you need to go to Firefox and we need to go to the place PS3 and download the latest firmware. It's giving us a warning, allow download. And then once that's installed, we are going to install firmware here. And then that should be that. Oops, no, I'm on the wrong. There you go. So now the files and downloads. So what we'll do now is firmware, install firmware, downloads, get that pub file. Okay, perfect. So this is our first step to getting the emulator up and running. It looks like it's almost done. Okay, so we're back in. So now firmware is installed. And that's pretty much it for this one. I'm going to do another emulator, the PSP one. Okay, it's saying I have to restart. So before I restart, I'm just going to do one other thing. I'm going to set it up so it auto logs in, so I don't have to keep putting in my passcode. There you go. Okay, so now it'll automatically log in. Okay, so let's reboot. We'll have to re-jailbreak and everything, but the point is it should log in automatically this time around. And just confirming everything is fine. 4.03, everything's good. I'm just gonna run the jailbreak again. I'm gonna launch Linux. And so now I just came out of rest mode and just waiting for Linux to boot up again. So this time it should load It should automatically log in. Perfect. Now we're back in our Linux environment, and let's just test and make sure RPCS3 is still working. Looks good. And then now we want to see if we can get the other emulator up and running. So I'm just gonna go back to the browser and just run it from see if this works now. Okay, good, it's working now. Okay, it looks like it's installed successfully. And then now what I'm doing is I'm simply using the center pad on my console, on my controller, to now act as a mouse. So the trackpad, or whatever you want to call it, the center area of the PS5 controller now acts as a trackpad, and I can click, press on it. It's touch sensitive. You just got to tap on it. And I'm going to just go to my S3, and I have my other emulator, PPSPP. So basically the PSP emulator and the PS3 emulator. So I'll just quickly show a game. Before I do that, I'll just show the controller configuration. One thing I want to call out is you need to make sure that your controller is connected or tethered to your PlayStation 5. And when you do that, you'll have something called SDL, and then it'll immediately pick up your controller. And that's as much as I did. I didn't do any fiddling around or controlling or button mapping, nothing like that. You then save your changes, and then I just installed some games. I can't necessarily show where to get them, so we'll just run a game here. And so this is one of my favorite nostalgic games I used to play back in the day, NBA Jam. And one thing I wanted to call out is it's a little quirky. The audio plays through the controller speaker. So that's what you're hearing right now. You might be faint, but you can hear it. That's the controller speaker. It's not actually playing through the speakers on my TV. I don't know why, but when I do a sound test, it does play through the speakers through the TV. I'm sure there's a way to fix it, but I'm totally fine with this. And as you can see, it's pretty quick, it's pretty fast. Response is okay. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's also an emulator, keep in mind. Oh my goodness. Somebody get the baking powder. Or some baking soda, I forget. When a guy's on fire, what do you throw on him? Oh, I love it when you call me Big Blocker. What's it go? He is on fire. Slices and dices. Uh-oh. Like a oh my goodness. He's throwing it up. Just a dramatic go here in the first. See if they can score here. Now shooting. He is on fire. Passes it up. Wow. It's probably my fault. It's a bit of a delay. Not from gameplay, it's just I'm recording and I'm playing at the same time. Alright, so to stop the emulator, you just press the PS button, and then you can go to settings if you need to change anything, and then you can obviously exit from there, and then you can play another game if you want. And again, I'm not using any controller, no mouse, no nothing. I'm just simply using the controller as my trackpad and my cursor and things like that. And yeah, so I'm playing another game now. So just again, want to show you the speed, the quality of the game. It just really attributes to the great processor and the great, I think they're Mesa drivers that leverage the GPU. And I think it's a great feat that the Flow did to get this working. Shout out to him. And again, people are doing way more sophisticated things than what I'm doing. I think a lot of people are turning their console into like a Steam machine. So basically, they're best of both worlds. They're playing PlayStation 5 games and they're playing AAA high-end PC games as well on their PS5. Now, with that said, I would honestly say your PS5 emulating and running Steam, turning into a Steam machine, you're basically running a mediocre mid-tier gaming machine. It's nothing like it's high-end or anything like that. So don't expect like full fidelity, 4K, ultra 4K, all settings, all graphic settings, all max. You'll burn out the system that way. But for like simple stuff, or even like mid-tier stuff, you're good. Like it's very fluid. It's not slow. You can see there's no real screen tearing or anything like that. It even feels like 60 frames per second. Wow. Just die already. Jeez. Come on. Jeez. It's all good. So yeah, just exit. And then once again, close it down. Once again, I'm not using any keyboard or mouse or anything. Just gonna close this down. And then I'll quickly show one game from PSP. And so here are all my games. And these are some of the recent games I played. So I'll just quickly play Virtua Tennis. Again, just showing you another example of an emulator that I have running on the PS5 via the Linux loader. It's quite enjoyable, it's usable, it's workable. Nothing's perfect, but it's pretty good. And then of course, just like with the other PS3 emulator, the PSP emulator, you press the PS button on your controller, takes you back to the main menu, and then you can just navigate to exit. And so that's basically it. To shut it down, simply go up to the top, shut it down like any other traditional Ubuntu OS, and that's about it. So hopefully you guys found it interesting. And once again, this is just an end state video. All right, guys, thanks. Like and subscribe. Peace.